Okay, so still trying to track Jason Voorhees down. And the next logical point was I must take a boat ride to New York. And I'm not feeling so good aboard this ship. Don't know why the signs are pointing in this way, but all logic dictates that it is the right way to go. I'm not built for this nautical life. Not at all. Not feeling so hot. Oh, God, this is a complete rip-off, I tell you. I swear if I don't find Jason Voorhees soon, I'm gonna... I'm so over this shit.
What is up, clean freaks and filthy friends alike? Welcome to week number 8 of the giant Friday the 13th review series summer special extravaganza extraordinaire. This is the single largest Friday the 13th review series ever brought to YouTube, as you guys already know. We've got Good Real Hunting, Nic Cooling, Robby at Reviews and Rankings with Robby Sobel, Chase at Moser Movie Reviews, and the watch parties over at House of the Living Dead, all in association with this. Again, the single largest Friday the 13th collaboration outside of Crystal Lake Memories. Of course, this week we're taking a look at the 8th film, the final installment of the Paramount 8, the original continuity, if you will, of the Friday the 13th canon. Of course, the New Blood, released in 1988, made just enough money at the box office to warrant yet another sequel. I feel like I've been saying this for the last 4 weeks. So yeah, again, it made just enough money to warrant another one. John Carl Buechler wanted to come back and kind of follow the storyline that he'd started. Lar Park Lincoln had a script that she had written, apparently, where Tina would be coming back. But Paramount decided to hand it down to Rob Hedden and figured maybe this guy can come up with something a little bit better. And he had this super ambitious story, which is what really makes this a frustrating entry, because he had this big, grand idea where Jason would leave Crystal Lake, because why not? Crystal Lake is becoming stale. Let's move on to the next location, New York City. That didn't happen as well as planned, because budgetary constraints would, of course, hold that back. Anyway, let's take a look at Jason Takes Manhattan. Jason Takes Manhattan came out in 1989, a year that you guys know I'm not a fan of when it comes to a lot of these films, but this one stars Jensen Daggett, Scott Reeves, the late Peter Mark Richmond, and Kane Hodder reprising his role as Jason Voorhees, the first actor to do that. Again, as you guys know, Kane's name is one that you will be hearing for a couple more weeks. And again, this one was written and directed by Rob Hedden. And this one, again, as I said in the intro, it was written as a super ambitious film where Jason Voorhees would leave Crystal Lake and wreak havoc in New York City, the great Manhattan. He was going to go to Madison Square Garden, destroy motherfuckers there, go to the Brooklyn Bridge, Empire State Building, Statue of Liberty, all that fun shit. But did Paramount really want to spend the money to put Jason Voorhees in this setting? No. 8 films in, that is a high-risk, low-reward situation to put yourself in. So they decide, no, it's going to have to be rewritten. So Jason Voorhees winds up being on a boat to Manhattan, which, let me let you in on a little secret. It wasn't really Manhattan. What? So anyway, again, it was rewritten to where Jason spent most of the film actually on a boat ride to Manhattan. And a lot of people really dislike this film for that reason, with the blatant false advertising. Jason is only in Manhattan for the third act of the film, pretty much. And since it's come out, fans have, I guess you could say lovingly or unlovingly, decided to call it Jason Takes a Boat, Jason Takes Vancouver. It's gotten a few different nicknames that, of course, point at the fallacies of the film. This one, really, though, guys, it had so much potential. Had Paramount decided to give Rob Hedden the money to make the film that he initially wanted to make, this one could have been one of the funnest entries. There's no way that this one would have been able to be taken seriously had Manhattan been utilized for most of the film. It really, again, would not be taken seriously. And how could you take something like this seriously? This had potential to be the single funnest film. It could have made Jason Lives look like fucking Final Chapter in the sense of its tone. But, again, the budget cuts restrained Jason to the boat. So Jason Takes Manhattan follows a group of high school students who are graduating from the high school in the Crystal Lake area, and they are taking a boat up to New York City, where they are all summarily stalked and most of them murdered by Jason Voorhees, who eventually follows some of the survivors to New York City to paint the Big Apple red. Now, this film gets a fuck ton of flack for being, again, poorly advertised. It's billed as Jason in New York for most of the film, where in reality most of the film is confined to the boat because, again, budget reasons. And a lot of people, again, they really don't like it for that reason, and I could understand that. It's an interesting take. Again, Crystal Lake, you could only have so many people go into these woods to be murdered before it's like, hey, maybe we should stop going to the woods around here. Let's take a boat to New York. It's a fun way to mix up the films. I mean, at this point, you really can't be taking them too seriously. The characters in this one, let's get into those characters real quick. We got our final girl, Rennie, who you could definitely tell was sort of supposed to be Tina Shepard in that she has this trauma regarding Crystal Lake. She has dead parents, and she has sort of psychic visions. Sure, it's not telekinesis, but she has the Crystal Lake trauma. Visions pertaining to Jason Voorhees, and a very almost Dr. Cruz-like uncle. So, I mean, Dr. Cruz is dead in the 7th film, but still, there's quite a few Tina similarities, and a lot of people, I think, really don't like Rennie because Jensen Daggett's performance is pretty mellow, and I sometimes have issue with it, but I don't know. I look at it as her character's just being very well reserved, so I can really look past that. Now, it's Scott Reeves' portrayal of Sean, who is the son of the captain of the boat. He's just about as dull, if not duller, than Nick in the last film. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was initially written as Nick, because, again, very fucking lackluster of a character. But Uncle Charles, man. Uncle Charles makes Dr. Cruz look like fucking Mr. Rogers up in this film. He's very helicopter type. You know, he's kind of the helicopter uncle. Of course, he really does, at the end of the day, just want the best for his niece, but also kind of trying to hide the fact that he pushed her ass into a lake when she was a little girl. The rest of the characters in this film are pretty forgettable. I mean, you do have a couple standouts. You got Julius the boxer. He's pretty badass. Goes toe-to-toe with Jason Voorhees in New York. You got JJ. Who the fuck doesn't love JJ? You gotta be a real sick fuck to not like her. You got, is it Kelly Hugh? Kelly Hu in here. She's got a small role, but still pretty memorable. But really, most of the other characters in this film, don't know them, don't want to know them, couldn't give a fuck less about them. But it's fun to see them die, mostly. I really do like the setting of the boat, too, in this film. The boat setting, I think, is a decent substitute for Crystal Lake, and honestly, I kind of like all the shit on the boat more than I like it when they get to New York. Now, of course, when you get to New York, you do have that very iconic shot of Kane Hodder as Jason in Times Square. That's fucking legend. You can't hardly top that. But I think everything that happens on the boat is really cool because you got some decent cinematography on there. You've got real nice fucking setting. I mean, just the whole idea of being trapped on a boat with Jason Voorhees, I think, is scarier than running into him out in the woods. So for that, I really gotta give a lot of credit to the boat setting. But yeah, I think it's a real solid setting for a Friday the 13th film. Again, it changes the formula, shakes it up a little bit, but 8 films in, you really kind of have to do something like that. You can't do the same run into the woods, get your asses killed. You can't do that fucking 8 films in a row. The New York stuff, it works well enough. Again, most of the time it's really not New York, just kind of back alleys of Vancouver, I believe. The Times Square shot was definitely New York. You get a lot of late 80s sort of New York stereotypes. You got the toxic waste everywhere, dismissive business proprietors and whatnot, muggers at every turn. It's pretty savage shit. I kind of like the New York stuff. I mean, but this is one I'm gonna tell you guys right now. I actually do enjoy this film to some degree. I don't hate it like a lot of people do. I'll tell you one thing. I go back to this one way more than I go back to the New Blood, just because this one has a certain rewatchability and fun to it. And again, that's really all you can do at this point in the series is just have fun with it. Although this one does have some creative kills where Jason's he's still getting pretty creative with his methods of killing. I mean, he uses a sauna rock. He uses his bare hands quite a few times. He uses a fucking guitar. He's got some pretty cool ways to kill people in this film. But unfortunately, this one suffers just as bad as the last film in that the MPAA got their dirty little fucking hands all over the cuts. Like, nope. Too much blood. You can't show that. You cannot show that. Take the blood out of here. You know what Quentin Tarantino says? The MPAA hates the color red. It's not that they hate violence. The color red is just a no-fly zone. So you got that to deal with. The butchered kills I don't think really bother me as much in this one. Like, because just for how creative they are, I think this one kind of gets a pass for me. And it just doesn't feel as cut for TV on this one. And again, I haven't even seen this one on TV, so I couldn't really tell you how that really plays out on the small screen, as it were. But, you know, it kind of bums me out to know that a lot of these are cut down, but they're still a lot of fun. So the kills in this one definitely get a big pass. The characters, again, they're just kind of there. Really there to die. But Jason Voorhees, Kane Hodder in this one, he does stand out. Watching this one, I definitely get that feeling that you can identify Kane Hodder's Jason, because there is that certain, I called it that it factor, but there is that something about him. He does have a sort of consistency when he plays the character, and a lot of it is in that head movement where he'll turn and then turn the body. He'll turn the head, and then his body follows. There's something just pretty... It's almost a primitive thing, but it still works out pretty well, and it's super effective. He really escalates the breathing in this one. One thing a lot of people don't like is the look of Jason in this film. That kind of waterlogged skin where he's fucking pale as a ghost almost, and his outfit's pretty much black just from being so soaked throughout the film. The mask a lot of people don't like because it's sort of stained yellow. I really don't mind the look of Jason in this film. I think it's pretty cool. Why does he have gloves, though? I don't know. Because he certainly did not have gloves in The New Blood. But he seems to have gloves in this film. So there's some inconsistencies. Why does this brand new mask have an axe mark in it when it's clearly not the same mask that was in The New Blood? Because that shit fucking bursted in half. I don't know. It's a fucking movie, guys. Just accept it and enjoy it, I guess. I kind of like the way this mask is designed, though. You got the smaller little chevrons there pointing in the opposite direction. I always thought that was pretty cool. And that kind of yellow tint to it is also not bad. I know I'm kind of in the minority there where I get some enjoyment out of Jason's look. And the wet Jason, it's raining on a fucking boat for most of the movie. He swims through the ocean near the end of the movie. It makes sense that Jason's all wet, man. Another really cool thing that we get in this film is this scene right here when Rennie and Sean run into the diner. You have Kane Hodder essentially getting a sort of preemptive revenge on Ken Kersinger for stealing his thunder for Freddy vs. Jason. A lot of fun here. Some issue that I do have with this film, though, again, outside of the kind of stupid characters and just the principal fact of the advertising being sort of a very misdirecting. It's kind of bullshit that they went and did that. I feel it runs a little bit long, and being that it is about 10 minutes longer than most Friday films up to this point, you do feel that fucking extra time that the movie runs for, and it's really just the whole third act. It's like they want to end it here, but nope, Jason comes back, let's kill him again, comes back, kill him again, comes back, kill him again. Is the movie over? We don't know when it's gonna be over. And they kind of rinse and repeat that quite a few times in this one, and it's getting to the point where it's like, yes, we get it, Jason's practically unkillable, but fucking just kill him already, please. Just end this fucking movie, because I think it would have been better if they'd ended it a little sooner than they did. Tried to not do like 5 different fake outs. Also, the whole thing of the toxic sludge going through the sewers, I don't have a problem with it. I can suspend my disbelief on that, but it was kind of a really nonsensical kind of ending, I thought, where you do get Jason unmasked. I do kind of like his weird unmasked look, but that elephant scream was just weird. But I do like that really gross fucking waterlogged look that he has, and it's not very consistent from the last film, but I think that it still looks pretty alright. Not by any means my favorite unmasked Jason look, but I still kind of like what they're going for with it. But the whole elephant squeal, and when he's climbing the fucking ladder after Sean and Rennie, and here's the sludge coming at him, the fucking toxic waste or whatever, turns around and he's like, Mommy, don't let me drown. Fucking water starts shooting out of his mouth. That was just fucking gross. And then turns into little kid Jason, which we've been seeing little apparitions of throughout the film, getting progressively more and more deformed, starting normal and getting just like more ugly throughout the whole film. It's like, what the fuck? Why is that about? I don't know. But why, when he turns into Kid Jason after being hit by all that water, I don't know, that went into some weird Freddy versus Jason territory that we might get into this during this summer. I don't know. We'll see what happens. The music in this one too is actually pretty cool, and I think is a sort of step up from the New Blood score. I really do like the little cue they do in the intro, and the whole motif, instead of kid, ma, it's Jason. It's like J, son. Like, I thought that was pretty sick, especially in that intro there when you see the Paramount logo. It's like, it's like, that's different. I like that. And there's just something really ominous and foreboding about the music. I'm sure it was not Harry Manfredini on this one. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. If I remember, his name will be right here. But I think he did a pretty alright job with the score. You don't get a whole lot of complaints from me out of that. Also, the opening track by Metropolis, The Darkest Side of the Night. I enjoy the shit out of that. JJ's little jam. That was pretty cool. Her whole scene where she goes down into the fucking boiler area. That's about as 80s as you get in what could only be about 2002, 2004. Whenever the fuck this movie's supposed to take place, because yeah, this one's got to be like set in the late 90s, early 2000s. Anyway, let's move on to the filthy features of this film. As always, we start with the favorite kill, and my favorite kill in Jason Takes Manhattan. Man, I really want to say Julius, but man, see the thing about the kills in this one, man, is that they're so much fun because you get different ways that Jason's killing people. I really like Eva's death, Kelly Hugh's death, like just the whole music, like all the music in that fucking dance room, like it's just that weird kind of poppy, overdriven guitar. It just sounds really sick, and you got the fucking lights flashing, the weird shots with teleporting Jason. I forgot to mention Jason absolutely teleports like a motherfucker in this film. But you got teleporting Jason just like there. Just turns around, he's there. The way that whole scene is shot, and then you got him just fucking choking her and lifting her up to where her head's touching that ceiling. That is insane. Chokes her to the point of death. And then he just fucking throws her to the ground. There's just something absolutely brutal about that I think that just slightly elevates that over Julius. And I know everyone's gonna be like, you didn't like the sleeping bag kill, you didn't put Julius's favorite kill. Fucking Julius almost made favorite kill in this one, guys. Julius and JJ have the runner-up deaths, I think, for this film, and Uncle Charles even has a fucking badass death, which is very well earned. He was kind of that dick, and we all wanted to see him die, and it was just fun, because it's like, there's sort of a parallel to the way he pushes Rennie into the lake when she's a little girl, that he's getting drowned in this toxic waste. It was poetry, man. Anyway, let's move on to the smutty sightings. So we got this girl, Tamara. She's kind of flunking her biology class, I guess, and she paints herself up and tries to seduce Dr. Charles, Uncle Charles, McCulloch, I believe was his last name. Professor McCulloch. Yeah, McCulloch. It's a lot of fun to say. Anyway, she tries seducing him to pass, and meanwhile, Wayne, this kind of nerdy dude who's friends with JJ, wants to bang Tamara, records the act of what looks like Charles getting frisky with her. And I figure, hey, if we blackmail him, we can fucking pass, whatever. That kind of backfires, and I don't know, I guess you could count that, because she's almost naked. She does take a shower thereafter, and you do get to see her reflection in the mirror, whenever Jason fucking comes into her cabin, breaks through the door, tries to grab her, but yanks her robe off. Not what I really want to put in this, but you know, you get to see her naked there for a second. It's not that feel-good naked by any means. You got Jason stepping up like a motherfucking hero and stopping a really deranged act of essentially fucking sort of like date rape without the dating part, where these fucking thugs essentially fill Rennie's veins full of heroin, get her all fucking high, and try to get ready to do shit with her. Jason puts an end to that before it could even start, thank God. Never thought we'd be rooting for Jason at this point, but been rooting for him since fucking part 2, man. Also, I almost forgot to mention during the opening scene, we got this really nice looking couple getting ready to bang on the boat. They're banging. Of course, their boat is actually what brings Jason back to life because the dropped anchor and the fucking wire under the lake. All that shit brings Jason back to life because, you know, Jason cannot have people fucking at Crystal Lake. It's just a no-fly zone. It's a no-fuck zone. So he puts an end to that before we could see it. I get a nice little bit of side boob from Susie there. Yeah. And that's really about it. Like, this really has a lot of that blink and you miss it type nudity. So I guess if y'all don't like that out there, it works for you. If you're like me and kind of want some nudity in your film, it's like, well, at least you gave me something I could pause and make do with what I got. But, you know, the smutty sightings were very minimal in this film. Moving on to the Friday the 13th exclusive features, we're starting with what is my absolute favorite. That's going to be the TGIF Pin-Up Girl. And as you guys know by now, that is the hottest chick of the flick. And this one, this one's a little tricky because a lot of them have that stupid 80s hair. So it's like you gotta try to look past that. I used to really fucking dig that look on chicks, but I don't know. Something about that 80s hair just don't work for me no more. Part of me wants to give it to that waitress. Nah. Definitely not the waitress. You know, I might have to give it to Susie at the beginning because brunette, she's got that curly hair, very cute face. She seems like fucking a really sweet chick, so you know, Susie wins because you guys know I love my brunettes, man. And Susie's just this really fucking cute chick that, again, she seemed like she was down for her dude, and I absolutely fucking adore that. So Susie wins pretty easy. JJ is a runner-up, though, because she's a fucking rocker. I absolutely love that, but the fucking 80s hair was almost a little too much. And it wasn't even ridiculously 80s. It was just, you couldn't see much of her face with it. So it's like, I can't really determine any of that. So Susie from the beginning, TGIF Pinup Girl for week 8. And going to my Crystal Lake memory, as you guys know, my first encounter with the film. This is one that I had heard of. I was probably about 8 or 9 when I heard of this film. And I remember one of my mom's friends was saying, it's actually the same one who, when I saw Friday the 13th Part 3, it was actually her husband at the time. He was telling me and my brother about the Jason movie in New York where he punches a dude's head off. And I thought this was an absolutely insane idea. Like, I like what I'm hearing there. You know, as like an 8 or 9 year old kid, it's like, Jason in New York? Yes. And, you know, I thought he was fucking pulling my leg, probably. I don't remember what exactly my whole thought process was for that. But I remember coming across this one at the video store, and I was absolutely grabbed by that cover art. I mean, it's absolutely an amazing shot of Jason just grabbing New York and fucking holding a knife in the other hand. I remember taking that home when I rented that, and just, I remember not knowing really how to handle it because Jason was not there at the lake, and he's not in New York. He's on a boat for most of the movie, and I'm thinking, okay, anytime now, we're going to get to New York. Another 20 minutes go by. Okay, New York will be anytime soon. It's not until about 75, 80 minutes into the film they finally get to New York. I enjoyed it for the most part. If I remember correctly, I probably liked it more then than I do now, but I wasn't too disappointed with it even as a kid. And I don't know, probably because I saw it so young, this is another one that's hard for me to really be too hard on. So yeah, that's really my memory on this one. It was just a real... it's one I don't remember too much about my first time watching. I do remember, though, being slightly underwhelmed by it, but still enjoying it. So that was the Crystal Lake memory for Jason Takes Manhattan. Anyway, in closing, guys, Jason Takes Manhattan it's stupid. Yes. It's false advertising to a degree. But it's an absolute fun Friday film to watch because it changes up the formula that we've been given. It goes and does something different. And you kind of got to appreciate it for that alone, if nothing else. You get most people's favorite Jason back in action. And you just have fucking 100 minutes of fun in this film. It's not a favorite by any means for most people. But I think if you really separate it from its title, I think you could enjoy this film for what it is, which is just... it's just schlocky fun, man. You call it something else. You take the fucking Jason Takes Manhattan out of the title. Just call it Friday the 13th Part 8. You could probably enjoy it. I mean, I certainly do. I have a lot of fun with this one, so... it's one I don't hate, and it starts an interesting period of the franchise that I so lovingly call the Jason's Adventures trilogy, which of course consists of this one, Jason Goes to Hell, and Jason X, because this motherfucker's traveling for 3 films in a row. Goes to New York, hell, and space? What? As always, thank you all for watching. Please be sure to like and share this video, and if you have not already, please go ahead and stab the hell out of that subscribe button. And be sure to check out the other Friday the 13th content coming out today. Again, check out Good Real Hunting, Nic Cooling, Chase at Moser Movie Reviews, Robby at Reviews and Rankings with Robby Sobel, and tune into the watch party over at House of the Living Dead for Jason Takes Manhattan. If you're feeling extra filthy, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Do you guys think that this one could have taken New York out and been just Jason on a boat and been just fine? Or would you have liked some more New York in this picture? Let me know what you guys think. And in the meantime, be sure to check out these social media links here. We've got the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, Patreon, and the Stream Demons fan page over on Facebook. Why don't you go ahead and check all those out? And in the meantime, stay filthy.
If the crack don't get you, then the hookers will.
You're a dead meat slime bag.